Before we get into this video, I just want to go over some top comments from Saturday's video. Saturday's video was actually awesome to see so many great responses to the Cosmo deck profile. The first comment I want to go over is from Sean Farrer, and his comment is awesome deck profile, man, as usual. One thing that would be awesome is if you have more lighting for your videos. You have a bunch of nice cards that will shine and look better with some more light. Now that actually brings an interesting question. I dropped $300 on lighting, but unfortunately the lighting was from my dark ass skin and not necessarily the cards. This video in particular is going to be recorded in the daytime, as if the other videos have been recorded on light time. I want to know you guys' opinion. Should I record during the daytime? Does it bring more light, or should I just invest into another light specifically for the cards? Money ain't a thing to a big baller like me, so definitely let me know. It's a question that I have been wondering for quite some time, and I appreciate you for bringing that to the light, Sean Fur. The next question is by Steven, or the next top comment is by Steven McIntyres. I apologize. He says, "Hey Callie, hope to see you at the tournament in Vegas come December." He is talking about the Las Vegas regionals that we are having in December. Hope to have the same fun like we had back at the other tournament. No one likes Arby's, which is very true. We actually made a poll about who liked Arby's, and I'm just gonna tell y'all right now, niggas don't like Arby's. Loving the competitive deck build, seeing how I'm trying to build a deck for the tournament. This is probably one of the best channels to go to if you guys are looking for some competitive decks that aren't Spiral or just tier 1, just a competitive version of your favorite deck. Keep making the content, man, and I hope to see you make a Musketeers video when they come out. Peace out, man. Thank you, Steven McIntyres. I'm like just completely butchering your name, and I apologize for the comment. Last is Cav Torino, and he says this deck is really spicy in reference to the Cosmo Metalfoe True Draco Fire King deck profile. These playmats you have also look pretty dope. Well, you know where to get them playmats from, bro. I think I'll have to cop me one of those. These deck profiles can definitely change the meta game. If someone is looking for a good deck to run other than Spirals, I definitely agree, Cav the New York guy. Before we can get into the video, again, I just have to mention the top subscribers. These guys have helped me tremendously by buying cards, selling cards, or just being part of the Patreon membership. If you guys would like to be in the top comments, or the top subscribers, then all you have to do is just post down below in the comment section, or just buy cards, sell cards, or become part of the Patreon. Without further ado, let's get you into the deck profile.
Good evening, YouTube. You guys are now watching another segment of the TheCaliEffect, King of Games, and today we are going to be going over a Paleozoic frog deck profile. Now, I completely forgot my watch, but you guys should know what time it is. It's time to start talking about that New Orleans win. We legit, bro. We going in for the Super Bowl. But more importantly, I actually had to redo this video just because I really wanted to put a sincere shout out. I hope I say your name right. Algeron Harris. He has been a consistent force into the reason why you guys are getting a Paleozoic deck profile. If you guys would like to see more content from this awesome channel, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And while you're there, you might as well just beat the living daylights out of the notification squad. Now, I know I said there were females before. This time they can be whatever you want. They can be your most hated enemy. And if your most hated enemy hits you, would you hit them back? I'm just saying. Without further ado, I present to you a Paleozoic frog deck profile. Alright guys, starting off with the monsters, 3 copies of Swap Frog. This is pretty standard for a frog deck profile. The main thing you want to do with this card is summon it as many times as possible to send aqua monsters from your deck to your graveyard. 3 copies of the Scoopity Doopity. Now, if you get 2 copies of Dupe Frog, it creates a dupe lock, saying that your opponent can only attack this card. If you have 2 of them on the field, your opponent won't be able to attack any of your monsters because they're forced to attack only this card. And seeing that there's 2 and they can't attack only that card, they won't be able to attack. More importantly, when it's sent to the graveyard, it tutors a frog monster from your deck to your hand. 2 copies of Ronnie Tani. Now, he is part of the frog engine. Even though he doesn't have frog in his name, he is evolved into a toad monster. By banishing a frog monster from your graveyard, you can special summon him to your side of the field. 2 copies of Gradle Slime. Now, what Gradle Slime allows you to do, it's just, this card is sauce. Out of all of the cards in the deck, I just really want to mention this card. You can normal summon him and then special summon a great old monster himself from the graveyard to your side of the field. And if you do, you get to special summon a monster from your hand that is the same level, since they're all the same level. It's an aqua monster, so it tutors so many awesome plays. This card is the reason why totally awesome plays are just stupid easy in this deck. And then lastly, 2 copies of Spellbook, Magician of Prophecy. I wasn't running this for a good time, and I was like, why not? It tutors spellbook monsters to your hand, or spellbook spell cards from your deck to your hand. It thins your deck and allows you to draw into all of your combo pieces. Almost every single one of these monsters I need in my hand. If I draw multiples of them, it's awesome. Also, it allows me to ditch with Swap Frog to special summon if it is a dead card. So it's a pretty decent card. I think that this is a really solid monster lineup at 12. Now that we're done with the monsters, let's get on to the spells. 2 copies of Spellbook of Secrets. That's going to be tutoring the little boy or Spellbook of Knowledge from your deck to your hand. And basically, this little draw engine allows you to get deeper into your deck while thinning your deck at the same time. 2 copies of Pot of Desires. I actually decided to run 42 cards because I know how good Pot of Desires is in this deck. Banishing 10 cards from your deck face down doesn't really mean anything when you have Paleozoic Lean, I call it Lean because I don't know how to say its name, to cycle those cards back into your graveyard. It's a really awesome card. 1 copy of Foolish Burial, and I know what you guys are thinking. You're like, damn, we're so long into this Paleozoic deck profile. How do we get over evenly matched? Well, I have 1 secret tech into the deck, and it's 3 copies of Prohibition. So here's the logic behind Prohibition in this deck. If we are going first and we know that our opponent is playing evenly matched, we activate Prohibition, we declare evenly matched, and we continue to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Now they have 1 dead card in their hand, and if they have to commit resources to destroy Prohibition, that's less cards that they would have had to break our board anyways with evenly matched. The next thing, we actually come pretty prepared and evenly matched with the trap lineup that we do have, but Prohibition is really good at this deck. I tried Spell Shattering Arrow, or I'm sorry, not Spell Shattering Arrow, Anti-Magic Arrows, which doesn't necessarily work well with this deck, seeing that you can't activate spell and trap cards during the rest of the turn either. I've tried Jinzo, which obviously would not work. Trap Stun doesn't work. Wiretap is a little bit too slow, but Prohibition is the sauce in this deck because you can declare other cards that are problematic like Denko Seka and everything else in between. That's it for the spells. At 10 spells for traps, we run 20 to make 42. 3 copies of Paleozoic Dinomachus. This card is really good now that we can actually accrue a lot of advantages in our hand. By discarding a card, we can banish a card on the opponent's side of the field. 2 copies of Paleozoic Canadia. This card, oh, I'm sorry, 3 copies. What am I thinking? Because I'm like, this is the best Paleozoic card. It's a Book of Moon. And the most important thing about all Paleozoic trap cards is when a trap card is activated, you can special summon up this monster from your graveyard, or this trap card from your graveyard to your side of the field, and it is not a trap card. It is legitimately a monster. 2 copies of Paleozoic Lean. Now, I really wanted to run 3 copies because of Desires and all the Swap Frog, Ronin Tonin plays that you can make with this card, but it's just a really special card in that retrospect. My apologies. 2 copies of Paleozoic Morella. This card allows me to tutor Paleozoic monsters or trap cards from my deck to my graveyard, which will then turn into monsters when I activate future trap cards. And then 2 copies of Paleozoic Pakaya. I actually might drop this down to 1 for the Paleozoic Lean, or probably for a different card. Pakaya is really good in theory. Discarding a Paleozoic card or a Paleozoic trap card from your hand to the graveyard to draw 2 cards is sauce. But in theory, it sounds good. In practice, it isn't always good because most of your Paleozoic cards are better off set. Sometimes Morella is, better off in hand. Sometimes Lean is better off in your hand for your Pakaya, which is why I still run 2. It's still a really awesome card, and drawing cards will never hurt. 2 copies of Paleozoic Oleandus, another copy for, or another target for Pakaya, because most of the time when you're playing against decks, they don't run a lot of back row, and sometimes the back row you don't want to destroy. So Oleandus is really good for pitching with Pakaya. 3 copies of Reckless Greed. Now, this is where the deck gets extra spicy. I've never used Reckless Greed in this deck and regretted it, because if you use it correctly, even when they're not stacking, you're still special summoning Paleozoic monsters, you're still drawing cards from your little boy, you're still gaining advantage throughout the game, and that +2 might get you in the position that you need. Now, if you activate 3 copies of Reckless Greed all at once, you're probably going to win the game. And then lastly is 3 copies of Waboku. You guys probably haven't seen or wonder where the Solemn Strike such and so. All of these trap cards can be activated whenever I want to, I guess with the exception of Dinomachus and Candia. Well, I guess actually all the Paleozoic trap cards have a condition, but more often than not, they can be activated almost any given time, and that's what I really wanted to focus on in case I didn't get prohibition for the evenly match. Being able to use my trap cards whenever I want to, so I don't have to lose too much advantage like when somebody evenly matched me and I don't have as optimal as a board. Reckless Greed is going to draw me 2 cards. Wabaku is going to prevent my monsters from being destroyed, or me taking damage. Oleandus is going to destroy spells and trap cards. Pakai's is going to draw cards, so all of that is going to play a little mind game, and that's the reason why I actually did decide to play 2 Pakai, is that I don't have to commit all of my resources. I can still get those Paleozoic trap cards to my graveyard with Pakaya and dodge evenly matched. So I really think that this entire lineup is really good. A whole bunch of chainable traps to prevent my opponent from taking full advantage of evenly matched. That's it for the traps at 20. For the extra deck, we run 3 copies of Totally Awesome. Now, if you make this card, you don't have to worry about evenly matched. You can actually negate evenly matched and take it from them and then evenly match them. So that's pretty good. More importantly, we like to make this card a 2700 body that can't be targeted for an attack under Duke Frog and Mistar Boy. 2 copies of Paleozoic Open Binya. This is probably the best Paleozoic Exceed monster in the main, or in the extra deck. It's just awesome. Being able to tutor trap cards from your deck to your hand, but also being able to activate trap cards from your hand to your side of the field, it's sauce. 1 copy of Paleozoic This card's really good, but it's not as easy to summon, seeing that it requires 3 monsters, but its effects are awesome. Being able to destroy cards on your opponent's side of the field, excavate trap cards and add them to your hand, is just a really good card. 1 copy of Sky Cavalry Centuria. This card gets rid of monster threats that we can't get rid of. 1 copy of Loco Crumble Logos. This card is really fun. He's a really good card to negate monster effects. That goes to Emerald for when you want to push for game, and Cat Shark is a really good card at making your monsters bigger than what they need to be. This deck doesn't have a lot of strong monsters per se. That's why Cat Shark comes in combination with Mistar Boy to make your monster stronger to get over almost any object. 2 copies of Mistar Boy. He is the star of the deck. Get it? Because he's a star. And he's a boy because he's a star. Somebody star. Anyways, Mistar Boy is an honorary Paleozoic monster, being able to boost all of your monsters over the 2500 threshold for Totally Awesome. Also, the Paleozoic goes to 2900. There are so many things that Mistar Boy does, but the main fact that you can make Mistar Boy and Totally Awesome, and when they're both sent to the graveyard, recurse water monsters from your deck or from your graveyard to your hand, it's awesome. 1 copy, a Cossack Magician. This is really good at bouncing opponent's threats, but more importantly, even bouncing Kaiju Gam Seal. 1 copy of Proxy Dragon card, just a really solid card, and then Tompalic Bomber Dragon. If you were able to make this card, you were probably going to win the game because your opponent won't be able to summon monsters. That's it for the extra deck. For the side deck, 3 copies of Kaiju Gam Seal, being able to rid of your opponent's threats such as Denko Sekka, just really solid monster threats. Masterpiece is also a problem. So Kaiju Gam Seal was a really good card, but also keep in mind that it's an aqua monster that can be pitched for Totally Awesome. 3 copies of Solemn Strike. I decided to side these because they're good against cards like Ghost Ogre and Ash Blossom, cards that your opponent should be siding out anyways, but also is good against just really strong monster effects that you can't get rid of. 3 copies of Dimensional Barrier. This is good against the Pendulum matchup. We don't really use it for anything else other than the Pendulum matchup. 3 copies of Evenly Matched. I mean, it's really good for us too, especially when we can activate it in our battle phase and then chain those Paleozoic trap cards to summon to our side of the field. Now, that's probably not the best thing to do, but if you really need a Paleozoic monster and your opponent only has like 1 or 2 threats, you know, that you need to get rid of, you know, you could force them into getting rid of some of their cards. 1 copy of your Imperial Order. You can actually go a more trap-based route, play Imperial Order against your opponent to lock them out of their spell cards, and then Dark Hole and Raigeki, really good against really good against Masterpiece. I was going to call it Masterpiece deck, but I guess that's actually what it is. Really good against Masterpiece, really good against Denko Sekka, Jinzo, all those other trap cards, or all those other trap disrupting cards to prevent you from playing Yu-Gi-Oh! That is it for the main board, sideboard, and extra deck. Let's get you guys to the combo tutorial. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, on to the combo tutorial, and I found my watch, boy, because you know what time it is. It's time for New Orleans to be 6-0, bro. We don't count the first two games, alright? But on to the combo tutorial. This one's going to require one swap frog and one water monster. What you are going to do is pitch the water monster to your graveyard to special summon the swap frog. That's going to send Ronnie Boy to your graveyard. Return the swap frog and summon him again to send another aqua monster from your deck to your graveyard. Use the effect of Ron and Tannen to banish a frog monster to special summon Ronnie Boy, and then use both of these monsters to exceed summon into a totally awesome. That on your opponent's standby phase or on the next standby phase, you're going to detach Ronnie Boy to special summon another copy of Duke Frog to your side of the field. This not only prevents your opponent from attacking over totally awesome, it also gives you another target to send to the graveyard for totally awesome's effect. The next combo I'm going to be showing you guys requires Gradle Slime Jr., Swap Frog, and another water monster from your in your hand. So what you're going to do is you're going to pitch that water monster, which is going to be Duke Frog this time, to special summon Swap Frog. Swap Frog's effect is going to activate to send another copy of, where is that card? I really should get this together. It's going to send the Gradle Slime Jr., normal summon the Slime Jr. to, or I'm sorry, return the Swap Frog, then normal summon the Slime Jr. to special summon the Slime Jr. to special summon the Swap Frog. Use the Swap Frog effect to send Ronnie Boy to the graveyard. Use both of these Gradle Slime Juniors to make them a Star Boy, then banish the Duke Frog for the Ronnie, which is going to get you the totally awesome. This deck doesn't really have a lot of combos. I mean, I can show you some extensive ones that are very, very like, I don't want to say improbable, but they're not that possible. Like, they're not, you know, you're not going to experience them. You're going to experience them through game state. You're just going to be able to play them. It's not necessarily a combo because it drags on for so long. Seeing that this deck does play 20 traps, a couple of things that I can tell you is that if you can make Topalic Bomber Dragon, you could actually stop right here with these two and then use all four to make the Topalic Bomber Dragon. Your Paleozoic trap cards in graveyard, when triggering your trap cards, place it to a link monster zone and destroy all monsters on the field every time you're going to summon a Paleozoic monster. Now, keep in mind that your Paleozoic monsters are unaffected by monster effects, meaning that they won't be destroyed by your Topalic Bomber Dragon. So you can have a Paleozoic monster just raining on your opponent. It's going to be pretty bad for them. Well, thank you guys so much for watching another segment of the Cali Effect. Deck profile madness is basically over. We have a couple of deck profiles to go. More importantly, let's get that comment section going. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, but most of all, enjoy.